Good morning, this is Robin Bieber on Chart Talk on the 4th of May at 7:10 in the morning London time. And the chart in front of you is June RBOB. This is a key contract and watching it today will probably provide some guidelines for us. On Friday, the market promised much but failed to deliver by the end of the day. In the meantime, Brent had hit its target higher and so on, but the market faltered. But the two crudes and RBOB both closed over their 13-day moving averages. These are critical support today. Brent only closed over by 2 cents though, so it was hardly conclusive. But the key today is RBOB firstly holding its 5-day moving average at 75.27 area. So long as it holds there and it's only 20 points above, it's okay for momentum higher. A move below the 5-day would suggest a test of the 13-day at 71.80 and the plethora of short-term moving averages in amongst here, which you can see. However, were it to close below the 13-day at 71.80, this would spell failure and tests of lower numbers. So the message is, whilst over the 5, it's okay and maintaining momentum higher. It needs to get over 77.98 to really start kicking in, and that would probably take us up to 82.72 where the problems begin. If it fails to hold the 5-day, look for a test of the 13 around 71.80, and if the 13 fails, this market is probably going to put some lower numbers in and seriously test lower supports. So RBOB, it's very clear. Watch the 5-day as the initial support, watch the 13-day as the key support, and watch 77.98 as initial resistance. Now, if we look at the other contracts, and we'll start with WTI, it's above its 13-day at 17.45. Whilst above there, it's okay. It must not, on a failure there, close below the 5 and 8s, which come in around 16.95 to 16.37. If it failed to hold the 8-day at 16.37 area, it is probably going to put serious tests of support on the menu and lower numbers. And this whole push up will have failed. Meanwhile, whilst above the 13-day, it has a reasonable chance of heading towards 21.64. But watch that 13-day very, very carefully today. Brent is struggling. It's printing just 10 cents below its 13-day, having spent a bit of the morning below. Whilst below there's a reasonable chance that it will go down to 25.16, 24.80 to put the 5 and 8s under pressure. Only a move and close below the 5 and 8s would suggest lower numbers, probably down to 22.05. Above the 13-day suggests a retest to 27.93. Watch the 13-day. It's an absolute key pivot today. But probably Brent will take its, and WTI will take their lead from RBOB. Now, heat has failed to hold above the 13-day, the green line. It's tested the 5-day at around 78.12 and held, and it's above the 8-day at 76.77. The 8-day is the important support. If it fails to hold that, it's going south, probably down to 70.84 again. Use the 5-day around 78.12 as initial support, and were it to move back over the 13-day around 81.17, then there's a reasonable chance of a test of 86.32. Again, it's a question of the short-term moving averages and what happens there. Gas oil, the right-hand chart, is holding the 5 and 8s at 2.15 and 2.12 area. Only we'd be looking for downside if we were below the 8-day at around 2.12. No upside unless it can get above the 13-day at 2.26. Note that on all contracts, the stochastics are positive, which is supportive, but it's by no means conclusive. It's the key is what happens at the 13-day moving averages today on the two crudes. They fail there, we're going down to the 5 and 8s. And if RBOB fails to hold its 5-day at 75.27, we're going to test lower numbers. Now, that might only be temporary, and it's going to be very dangerous today, so be careful. Now, if we just look at a bit of back-end structure, Red Deck TI here, it's actually a microcosm of the flat price. It's holding the 5 and 8s between 5.47 and 5.40. So long as it holds the lower of those, it's okay. It's got a nice positive stochastic, but no upside unless it gets over the 4.99 area, which is the 13-day moving average. And note how it failed to have punch on Friday. It didn't even get near its 13-day. Same true on Brent. Exactly the same conditions. Red Deck on Brent. Nice positive stochastic. Looks like it's going to test the 5 and 8s between 5.74 and 5.82. So long as 5.82 holds, it's okay, but no upside unless it's above the 13-day at minus 5.34. And if we just look at this 60-minute chart on Brent, here we go. A bit erratic, looks like it's going to start edging higher for the next 2 or 3 hours. Stochastics are just positive. It's tentative and by no means confirmed. And RBOB, 60-minute chart, pushing a little bit higher but wobbly. Today is going to be dangerous, it's going to be volatile and erratic. Watch these short-term moving averages and watch RBOB very closely for guidance. That's all for today, folks. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.